You never got hit. You never got screamed at. But deep down, you've always felt off. You overthink every message. You panic when someone gets too close. And no matter how normal your childhood looked like, you've never felt safe. That's not your personality. That's trauma. Not the kind that leaves bruises, the kind that rewires your brain quietly. In the next few minutes, I'll show you how your emotional blueprint got built without you even realizing it, and how to finally take your mind back. You didn't grow up in a war zone. You weren't abused. No one ever called it trauma. So why do you feel anxious when things are calm? Why do you feel the need to earn love, prove yourself, or stay quiet to keep the peace? Why does a part of you flinch when someone gets too close? Here's what no one told you. Trauma isn't always about what happened. It's just as often about what didn't happen. No one taught you how to name your feelings. No one co-regulated with you when you were overwhelmed. Maybe love was conditional. Maybe affection was earned. Maybe you were told to man up when you cried. Or maybe no one ever noticed when you were in pain. And so you learned to suppress instead of expressing it. You started abandoning your emotional needs just to survive the space you were in. That's developmental trauma, and it wires your brain to live in defense, even when the threat is long gone. This is the invisible trauma of high-functioning young men. You look fine, you perform well, but inside, your system is running on fear and not freedom. Your brain isn't broken, it's just been trained to survive. When you grow up in an environment where your emotions aren't safe, even if you look calm from the outside, your nervous system adapts, not to thrive, but to protect. Here's how that shows up. Your amygdala, the threat detector, becomes hyperactive. Suddenly, a delayed reply feels like rejection. A sigh from someone close feels like danger. You're scanning for threats even when you're safe. Your prefrontal cortex, the part that helps you regulate, reflect, and stay calm, starts going offline when you need it most. That's why you freeze in tough conversations. That's why you replay mistakes for hours. Why you overreact and then hate yourself for it later. And your hippocampus, the part that stores memory, it doesn't store trauma like a movie. It stores it like scattered fragments. Jaw tension, gut drops, sudden rage, with no story to explain it. So now your body remembers what your brain can't put your words into. This isn't dysfunction, it's survival. But when the environment changes and the wiring stays the same, that survival mode becomes your prison. This is the exact work that changed everything for me. And right now, I'm building a course that'll show you how to rewire your emotional system from the inside out, using real neuroscience and raw lived experience. If you've ever felt hijacked by your own reactions, like you're not even choosing to snap or shut down, this is the work. First link in the description. You'll get early access as soon as it's ready. Alright, let's talk about the masks that you've built to survive and why they're not working anymore. You didn't choose these patterns, you built them to survive. When your emotional world didn't feel safe, you learned how to adapt fast. Some of you became hyper independent, never asking for help, because needing anything felt dangerous. Others became the performers, chasing achievement, validation, attention, not for success, but for safety. And some of you went numb, the escape artists, disappearing in your own phone, porn, games, silence, not out of laziness, but out of protection. These aren't personality traits. These are trauma strategies. You learn to read the room before you read yourself. You became who you had to be to get approval, to avoid conflict, to feel less alone. And somewhere along the way, your real self, the one that felt things, needed things, wanted things, got buried under the armor. But here's the thing no one tells you. What protected you back then is now keeping you stuck. You've journaled, meditated, watched the videos, maybe even opened up once or twice. But still nothing sticks. Here's why. Healing isn't just hard, it's threatening to your brain, to your body, to the identity that kept you alive. Because healing asks you to do the very things that you were punished for. Feeling, slowing down, letting someone see you before you've got it all together. And then there's the cultural piece. You were raised in the world that taught you silence is strength, that the grind is everything, that needing help makes you weak. So now even when you want to get better, your system resists. Because vulnerability doesn't feel safe. Because rest feels like failure. Because trusting someone feels like a trap. And let's be real, the world doesn't exactly reward emotional honesty in men. You open up and half the time people don't even know what to do with it. Or they use it against you. So yeah, healing is hard. Not because you're doing it wrong, but because you're doing it without a map. And in a world that told you to stay lost. You can't outthink trauma. You can't logic your way out of a feeling your body still believes is dangerous. That's the trap I fell into for years. I had read all the books. I could explain why I was anxious, why I shut down, why I pushed people away. But none of it stopped the spiral. None of it stopped the moment when someone got too close and I'd snap or go completely numb. I remember one night in particular, I had just gotten into an argument. Nothing major. But afterwards, I was pacing around my room, jaw locked, fists clenched. I kept telling myself, just chill, you're fine. But I wasn't. And for the first time, I caught it. My body, not my mind, was the one panicking. It didn't feel safe enough to calm down. That's when it clicked. Trauma doesn't live in your thoughts, it lives in your nervous system, your sympathetic system. Fight or flight. Get stuck in on. Or you drop into that shutdown mode. Numbness, blankness, isolation. That's why you can't meditate when you're spiraling. Why breathwork feels like a joke when you're triggered. Your body hasn't learned how to feel safe yet. So if you've ever felt like you know better but still can't change, you're not broken, you're dysregulated. And the work isn't just mindset, it's regulation. Slowly teaching your body it's allowed to come out of survival. Not through force, through consistency, and through compassion for the version of you that needed those defenses in the first place. Here's the good news: the same brain that adapted to survive can adapt to heal. That's not motivational fluff, it's neuroplasticity. Your brain is always rewiring itself. The only question is, in what direction? When you learn to regulate your nervous system, you're not just calming down. You're literally strengthening your prefrontal cortex, the part that helps you stay grounded under pressure. Every time you slow your breath, name a feeling, pause before reacting, you're building a new neural pathways. When you journal about a memory and include the sensations, not just the story, you help your hippocampus turn fragmented emotion into coherent narrative. You go from I don't know why I feel this way to I understand myself. And when you do progressive muscle relaxations or body based work, you start to recalibrate your amygdala. So it stops interpreting neural movements as threats. This is the science of your comeback. It's not about fixing yourself, it's about helping your system to unlearn the story that it's never safe. Healing isn't a leap, it's reps. Tiny repeated acts of regulation, reflection, and reconnection until the person you have been performing as finally starts to feel like you. Let me give you one tool, just one. But if you actually try it, it'll start change the way you experience your emotions. It's called the 90-second body scan. Here's how it works. Next time you're triggered, maybe someone says something that hits a nerve, or you feel that wave of anxiety or shame rising, don't jump into your head. Don't try to explain it, fix it, or suppress it, or even shame yourself for it. Just pause and scan your body. Where is it actually showing? Is your chest tight? Are your fists clenched? Is your jaw locked or your stomach is dropping? Pick the most intense spot and actually breathe into it. Not to make it go away, but to be with it. Here's what science says. If you stop resisting an emotion, if you don't feed it with thoughts or try to shut it down, it will naturally peak and fade in about 90 seconds. That's it. You're not trying to figure it out. You're not trying to win against it. You are just feeling it. That is it. Why does this matter? Because most young men were never taught how to sit with discomfort. We were taught to push it down or distract ourselves. But the body remembers what the mind tries to forget. And if you keep suppressing that wave, it just builds and builds until it becomes a breakdown, or a panic attack, or an explosion you regret. The 90-second body scan teaches your nervous system something it probably never felt before, that you can actually feel hard things and survive them. And when you practice that over time, your body starts to trust you again. Not because you understand your trauma, but because you finally started listening to it. Let's be real, most guys don't heal because they're tired of the pain. They heal because they're tired of performing strength while quietly falling apart. You were never taught emotional safety. You were taught emotional survival. And that version of masculinity, the one that tells you to stay quiet, stay hard, stay self sufficient, it's not strength. It's just fear in a suit. But here's the shift: every time you pause before reacting, every time you name what you feel instead of hiding it, every time you choose connection over control, you're doing something radical. You're redefining what it means to be a man. You're breaking generational patterns without even making a sound. You're becoming someone your younger self needed and maybe never had. This isn't about fixing yourself. It's about finally choosing to become yourself, fully, openly, without shame. That's what real strength looks like. And the world is starving for it. Your trauma shaped you, but you get to reshape it. You get to stop living on autopilot. You get to stop reacting like the version of you that was just trying to survive. You get to start choosing how to respond, who you become, and what you pass on. And if this spoke something in you, That quiet voice that's been saying, I can't keep doing it like this, then this course I'm building might be the next step for you. It's everything I wish I had when I had started. Real neuroscience, real tools, real inner work. Not just to feel better, but to feel like yourself. First link in the description. You'll get early access as soon as it's ready. And if nothing else, I hope this video helped you feel a little more seen, a little less alone, and a little more in control of a story you didn't choose, but you get to finish.